Hi, and welcome to this episode of Virtuell Hverdag. Today I'm talking with Kaspars Kaulins, the development director at Tilde. And today's episode is a really interesting one, where we talk about the merging between voice technology and AI, and how that impacts, for example, how governments communicate with their people. For example, how blind people can access more and more of the information available through voice technology and voice bots, but also how, for example, some of the less used languages are being threatened by extinction because they're no longer involved into that progress. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Hi, Kaspars.
Hello.
Thanks for having the time to come over here and talk.
Thanks for having me.
I understand that you just finished your talk over there. What was it about?
It was about the challenges the public sector is facing in relation to new requirements for communication in this era of digitalization and artificial intelligence. And I was also talking about what kind of solutions and how these technologies that we are developing can actually help tackling these challenges.
Okay, let's start with the challenges first then. What challenges have you seen that we have started to have?
So let's in case of let me start with the very general one, and this is the challenge that people who are communicating in let's say the languages that are not having too much let's say people talking these languages or using these languages. The languages of small nations are actually facing a risk of digital extinction in case if they are not embracing these new technologies. If you look at kids, I don't know how it is in Norway, but say in Latvia, and the way they communicate with the smart devices, they use English because these smart devices are trained and work with English, not Latvian. I don't think many devices work with Norwegian or Swedish or Lithuanian.
And by smart devices, you mean like Google Home and Alexa and stuff like that? Or
Alexas and also Siri's on the phone, Alexas, Google Homes, yes, Cortanas, these digital agents. They communicate in not only in English but only in the big languages of the world. And the smaller language communities are outside their reach because we are basically too small and too unimportant for them in terms of business.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just in spoken language, but written language as well, because most of the coding is in English.
Exactly. So this language survival challenge is one, but this is like a general one. But then if we get in and public sector and governments have to play some role into this to keep our languages safe and make them survive. Then, in more practical terms, if you look at the questions related to inclusiveness and accessibility of information and services that the governments are providing, more and more services are available on e-platforms. More and more information, and let's say this is the most common way information is stored on the web. So, and how to make sure that people who are immigrants, people who are some ethnic minorities in the country, people who are visitors or people who want to do business in that particular country have access both to information sources and services available in the CE environment. So this is a challenge, the multilinguality challenge or language barrier challenge.
Onboarding of those resources.
Yes, so that they can actually they can use them, they can and they can understand what's in there. Yeah. So and then another aspect of inclusiveness is these people with special needs, hearing impairments, vision impairments, people with dyslexia, paralyzed people. So I think these groups also deserve the access both to information and services, like any one of us.
Absolutely, and that's a real big challenge. For example, if you're visually impaired, it's really difficult to use the Wide Web.
Yes, but there are technologies that can actually allow you doing that. Okay, so I partially talked about these technologies. So and then there are challenges related to cost. So the amount of information, the content is growing exponentially. And again, if you want to make this content available or accessible, the knowledge, the information accessible to majority of your population, you somehow need to translate it. And people can do it by themselves, or people can use some tools. And this is also something that governments and public sector institutions have to take care of. So that how to deal with this growing amount of information and how to manage costs, how to manage it cost effectively. Because human translation is very costly and it's time consuming, so it's slow, and no, we don't have enough specialists, enough linguists and translators to manage all the content that should be translated. So this is yet another challenge, and then there is one. There are a few more, but let me just outline one more. Especially the younger generation, they expect that different channels of communication will be used in this let's say public sector and citizen communication.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, let's take chatbots. Let's take chat channel as such. Live chat and
instead
chatbots.
of calling that you can just type in and get response.
Yes, or have a voice bot. So basically, you can do the calling, but you speak with the bot, not with the person. Because again, governments are facing real big pressure on the cost efficiency. So they cannot employ a lot of people in the customer service. So to take care of that, this is also very important.
But there are no quite simple solutions for it, because one of the challenges which you mentioned is that the local languages are dying out. But to be able to do those type of translations through machine learning or algorithms, you do have to have those people, and you need to keep that language alive.
Yes, and you need data. That's the most important thing here is data. And again, for the large languages, availability of data is simple.
But simpler.
Or simply. For our languages, to train, let me use one example. For human-machine communication, the language we speak, the language we write emails and long letters in, or articles, and the language we chat are three different languages. And then you add the origin of the language, so being it New Norsk or Latvian or Lithuanian. So basically you need, in order to train these systems well, to train a smart chatbot. Natural language understanding is the technology behind it. So the algorithms that based on learning actually can detect the intent of the inputs of the users. So basically they can then respond accordingly. So you need to train these algorithms, and to increase the quality of such algorithm, you would need to use real chat data. And where to get that data? Because if you look at how, for instance, currently our governments are communicating with citizens, I don't know about Norway, but in Latvia it's not common that you have a chat with I don't know, a tax authority. Or they go physical, so they go to this institution physically. They call. This is the most typical probably way, or they write emails. They do not do instant messaging or chatting with these institutions, and in order to enable this channel, you would need good algorithms to have a good let's say smart bots. But so we need to create that data by ourselves, and this takes time.
And that's also a huge cost, because to create that data, you need to first do that manually through people.
Exactly. But so this is like kind of a catch-22 situation.
Exactly.
Because what is above all like a general challenge here is we need to help people changing their habits. And basically getting used to these digital habits instead of the old type ones. And this is and to change a habit, it should start with a positive experience. So the first thing in order to change your habits is to have a new positive experience with a different way of doing things, like chatting with a bot. And so we should take care of the quality of this first experience. This is like the technology developers' responsibility, and the technology users or owners' responsibility.
And you believe that in general or in the governmental or public sector?
Both. I think it's a general topic, but in the governmental setting, somehow it's let's say it's because there is no kind of commercial risk. If something fails, if you have a chatbot, say we have multiple chatbots now in Latvia in use. Let's say you have a chatbot in for say business registry, who's helping to register, liquidate companies, make changes in the bylaws, changes in the board settings, do a lot of things via this bot channel. Of course we have warned, and there is a constant and continuous monitoring of these activities. So if something goes wrong, if this algorithm does not perform well, there is always a possibility that a human will take over, and basically these the risks are relatively slow. But if you are a commercial platform and you have a bot on your platform kind of trying to boost your sales, and if this user experience with that bot is negative, people will never ever try to talk to that bot again. So there's much more risks on the business side than there are in this public setting, because okay, it didn't work, but then somebody came and helped, and that is fine. But no, you cannot change that experience with a bot.
So you believe that the public sector actually has really good opportunity to be innovative and create that data?
Yes, and create that data. This is exactly what is very important. So availability of such data is of critical importance, both for training new algorithms, developing these new better systems, but also for analyzing. So what is important, because this data also gives us this conversation. I'm talking about conversational data. So it gives us ideas on how to improve these conversations, the quality of these communications, style, like content and whatever. So it helps in both ways.
Hi everyone, and sorry for the short interruption. But if you come this far into the podcast, it means that we do something right here at Virtuell Hverdag. So I would love if you can just spend 2-3 seconds to rate, comment, or share this podcast. It would mean very much to me. So thank you, and back to the episode. But do you believe that the public sector has sufficient understanding of the field to be able to make these type of innovations, these type of implementations, basically?
No, this is our job. Basically, yours and mine is to go out and educate them, explain them how these technologies can be helpful and why it is important that they take up the risk, because this is really. It requires certain courage in the public sphere, because these are not, the time has changed when you can rely on ready, steady, mature, robust technologies being developed. These technologies are they are all the time in making. They are developing over time, but you have to start somewhere. You cannot make them perfect and only then introduce them to the public, because the only way to make them perfect is by introducing them to the public in early stage.
Yeah, that's a completely new mindset for people. Yes. That you need to have the data to actually create better products. So you have that eternal loop.
Yes.
More data, better products.
And of course, who wants to risk its authority and some investment decisions if you are not sure? So no one can come and show a completely 100% perfect, reliable solution at the end. It's all in making. So this is what is important. But I very much hope that we see more and more. You have, starting this year, Norway has a digital minister. So congratulations. I think this is the right way to go. Most of the countries have developed their digital strategies or AI strategies, even artificial intelligence strategies.
I believe we have that as well in Norway.
Yeah, we are moving, but of course it's from words to actions.
Exactly, because it's quite easy to have a plan, but to act on that plan is way harder.
Yes.
And the way I understand that, we don't have that much incentive for the public sector in general to actually do this type of implementations.
Yes.
I completely agree that for a long-term perspective, we absolutely need to have them. But a lot of people in the public sector are being scrutinized about how they use money, how they invest in technology. And if they do take a risk and it doesn't pan out, as you said, for example, chatbots, they get quite a negative view from everyone, from the press, from...
Yes. So, but I was also sharing a success story we are very proud of. So basically what we have done in Latvia, we have built a language technology portal for the government. This is free to everyone working in the public sector, actually free to every citizen and free to every government institution. It's not for free for businesses, but they can also use some of it. And this portal contains multiple neural machine translation agents that are basically custom for this public domain, general information domain. Then we have terminology portal. This is also like because part of maintaining your local language is to have appropriate terminology. So new words, new terms that emerge, you have to have them and use them in a systemic and consistent way. So
life cycle management.
So there is a terminology portal, and then we added speech recognition. Part where you can upload files or dictate and get transcripts. And we have also speech synthesizers. And these are and then a whole set of different connectors, plugins, APIs for different. So
other companies can work on that data.
Institutions can integrate these things into their websites, into their products, into their e-services, and this is what is happening. So basically, and this is coming back to our story about the people with visual impairments. So this basically with some. Also, specific software designed in Latvia, people who are blind or have those vision impairments can actually get the synthesized readings of the web content. So they can guide it by voice, going section to section, changing pages.
So you can actually give those commands.
Yes,
wow.
Yes. So this is the way. But you need this speech recognition technology for them to be able to guide it, and you need speech synthesis technology for them to be able to get the content in a spoken way.
And if we were to create something similar in Norway, how would you recommend us starting?
No, the simplest way, because this portal has been built using also co-funding from European Commission. So basically, the base code is available.
Open source?
Oh, no, it's partially open source, but it is to the large extent open source. We are currently discussing possibilities to extend or to actually use the same base for a solution in Estonia and in Ireland. So it's we are looking for partners, and we would be happy. We have introduced this idea already to. There is such a setup where the prime ministers of Nordic and Baltic countries come together from time to time. So they have discussions, and at one of such meetings, the solution was introduced. But I don't think it did resonate well in Norway. No. So I think we need to do more first to persuade that there is something that has been already done. You don't need to again reintroduce it from the scratch. This is the beauty of our current age, where people are ready to share things, like including the code, including the work we've done on the platform.
I completely agree, and it's quite interesting because the engineers have been sharing such information since basically the beginning. But that's the first profession which I've heard of that does so freely without expecting anything in return, like how we created Linux or how we create other platforms just by collaborating on our spare time.
Wiki,
exactly.
is Wikipedia is built on such approach. So yes.
But why do you believe that Norway is not further ahead? Because we have quite a digitalized country, but I see countries like Lithuania, Estonia being far ahead in how we conduct.
Estonians are very proud of.
They
Since
have
we are a
e-Estonia.
Baltic company, we have offices in all three countries. So Estonians are very proud of their e-voting. E-voting is possible also in Latvia. The difference is that in Estonia they can vote also on this official voting day. In Latvia you can also only vote in this pre-voting phase.
Okay.
So before the actual election day. Yeah. So but we have the system in place. I think e-health, e-tax management or tax return management. I think we all three Baltic countries are very, very well equipped with e-services in the public domain. But of course, again, to have access to these services for people who are not locals, you need to have these language technology tools.
But what do you believe that the Baltic countries are so far ahead? Is because you had the opportunity to recruit. Yeah.
I think this is
Norway
the case
isn't
of
that
being
big of a country.
Small and the beautiful. We can. I think it's. People are also. There is a large part of society that are kind of early adopters in their mindsets, so ready to try out new things, new technologies. I think this is very important because you have to have these users. Again, as I told, this is the story of to have data to retrain the systems to make them perform better. And people are ready to try out new things. I think that's important, and I very much hope that by having or developing such tools like this language technology platform, our government is actually encouraging people to use more of these technologies and tools, which makes it easy to introduce something new.
But our role as technology people or employees of big technology companies, what do you believe it is? As you said, it was to educate the public sector. But how do we do that? Which steps could we take?
In such forums like different conferences, we are also actually speaking and participating in lots of internal meetings at ministries and governmental institutions, public seminars, forums where the government employees are there. So this is one thing. I think we shall also kind of make a good PR around success stories. Yeah, so it is very important. This encourages next institution. We started our chatbot history. Well, Tilde has been building chatbots since 2011. So at the time when nobody actually had an interest about them, and still the first public sector smart, intelligent chatbot. We actually did it before Finns did it. We appeared in Latvia in early 2018, and the bot was and still is. Her name is Una, and she works for Latvian Business Registry. So she helps registering companies, liquidating companies, and stuff I told you. Based on this Una's success, I think we have now. In the third phase of this Hugo project, we are developing a bot platform. And the ambition is by the end of the next year, Latvia shall have more than 60 bots in the public service.
Wow.
That will be interconnected, that will share certain parts of the knowledge base. Currently, I think there are something like 5 or 6. By the beginning of the next year, there will be 13 bots out already. So it's a work in progress, and we have a lot to do. But
are Tilde building all the bots?
Tilde, this we are building, but the idea here is that we are actually building. So we have built the platform, and we have developed, let's say. This process, how to build a bot, and we are training people in the public institutions to do that by themselves. We don't have that many bot trainers in Tilde. So what we do is we have like a training materials, we have process descriptions, tools, and we basically give this knowledge over to government so that they can train their bots by themselves. We just start this process up, and it really rolls. And it started with the one successful. Again, the director of that enterprise registry, she was brave enough to take a risk because no one in Europe had such a solution at that time. And now they are kind of bearing a positive fruits of that, or harvesting a positive fruits of that.
As you said, you just need one success to prove it.
And we need to talk about these success stories because this is what encourages others.
And people that are interested in learning more about what you build with Tilda and the first application. Una.
Yeah. It stands for...
Where can they go and learn more about this?
Una actually now she learned English this year. So if you go to their website, which is ur.gov.lv. So this is their official website, and she's there. And if you start conversation in English, she will kind of switch to an English version and will respond to you in English.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for the story, Kaspars.
Thank you.
And for having the time to come over.
Thank you.